Hey guys, are you tired of losing in Diablo 4 PvP? Or maybe you're too intimidated to even give it a try. Or you're a completionist and you want to get the Hatred's Chosen title. Whatever the case may be, I have 7 PvP tips that everyone should know. Let me know down in the comments if you have any that you would like to add, but without further ado, let's jump right in. The stats in the game are lying to you. It's been widely confirmed that in PvP there are some different soft caps in the game. For example, there is a cap on how much critical damage you can stack, or even armor, before you get diminishing returns. What this means is that you need to make a PvP specific build, and you can't just bring any old PvE build into the fields of hatred. Things such as crowd control or escaping crowd control suddenly become a lot more important. I would recommend aspects such as the eluding aspect or the protecting aspect, otherwise known as the bubble aspect, that you get from the main questline. Looking up PvP builds and guides are also going to level up your gameplay. And of course, testing them out yourself and learning how they work are going to provide you with the best experiences. There's a lot of PvP builds running around, and the PvP zones are not a fair place to fight. What I mean is that there's a lot of different environments in the PvP zones, including high grounds, low grounds, tight corridors, open spaces, and of course, places that have high mob density. For example, the Sorcerer's Teleport is a very powerful skill that can allow you to bypass a lot of terrain. Being able to jump across usually unpassable terrain can give a huge advantage in PvP. And places with high mob density can, for example, help a necromancer reset abilities, or a rogue build up stacks. So it becomes quite important to know not only how your own build works, but also how your enemies' builds work. In addition to that, you should probably also get familiar with the Alchemist. Way too many players are sleeping on the Alchemist. You can find an Alchemist in any of the main hubs, and if you walk over to them, you can check out everything you can craft, from elixirs to incenses. There are some crazy stat boosting incenses like the Chorus of War that gives 40 to all stats for every nearby player, and that includes yourself. And the Curative Elixir is also really strong, especially for the current meta of poison rogues. Being able to reduce all damage over time effects by 50% will help keep you alive during those crucial PvP fights. And I have a bonus tip for you. You can actually equip your incenses and elixirs onto your emote wheel. Yeah, you thought that was just for flexing on your opponents. The Alchemist isn't the only place where you can get consumables. In each of the PvP area hubs, you can find a cursed scroll vendor. You will find 3 different scrolls, each with different powerful abilities, but they tend to come with some negative side effects and with a cooldown. However, similar to the elixirs and incenses, you can also equip these on your emote wheel. Just be a bit more cautious when you use them. The Cursed Scroll of Tranquility grants you a bunch of damage reduction against players, but you do take a lot more damage from monsters. So don't go popping this scroll when you're surrounded by mobs. Now that we have the tools for the fight, we should get to know the PvP zones a bit better. There are 2 PvP zones in the game, one in Kyrgyzstan and one in the Dry Steppes, but they are not created equal. The PvP zone in Kyrgyzstan is a lot more open, and it also has a lot more mob density. This makes the area a lot more popular for people to farm, so that means more competition. Now this might be a good or bad thing for you. It seems to be a lot more popular for PvP, and from my experience, higher level players tend to flock there instead of the Dry Steppes. Though this may not always be the case, this is what I've experienced myself. Though you might want to check out both areas just in case. So if you're trying to pick a fight or find tougher competition, I would recommend Kyrgyzstan. Otherwise, you might want to head to the Dry Steppes for PvP instead. And now that we're almost ready to PvP, we should check up on our settings. When I post PvP clips, I've gotten questions about why my opponent's effects are all green. Forget about PvP, but Diablo 4 already has so many effects and particles going on that a lot of the times I have no idea what's going on. So this is why I would recommend players to check their settings and adjust things to help with their visibility. Since I'm playing Necromancer, I already have a lot of red corpses and red blood effects going on, so I don't need my opponents to also have red effects covering my screen. I recommend going into options and then gameplay. Scrolling all the way down, you can see all the color effects. You can change enemy highlight color to whatever preference you have. And I would also recommend picking a player highlight color and then checking the player highlight box. And this is how I get that white glow around my character so I can better see the animations. It makes things like knockdowns a lot more clear. And now that you're finally PvPing, I think it's time to go make some friends. No, seriously, go find some like-minded people to PvP with. And no, I don't mean go in a party of 4 and gank everyone you see in the PvP zones. Don't be that guy. What I mean is find some people you can duel with and practice your skills and test your new builds. And joining a community like a Discord can be pretty helpful for answering your questions and staying in the loop for new information when it comes out. And if your friends are playing different builds, that can give you a larger perspective, knowing the information that they know too. And if you're new to PvP, don't worry, there's not actually 4-player parties that are running around ganking everyone. At least I've never met them. If you haven't tried PvP yet, I highly recommend you give it a try. And if other players are getting salty and mad at you, then you're probably doing it right. And it's also actually a pretty decent place to farm for gold and gear. If you're curious about that, I have a video where I test the gold per hour and legendaries per hour between Helltides, Nightmare dungeons, and of course the PvP zones. So if you're interested, check out this video right here.